to another edition of the Mr. Chris Show, Voice of the Underground. And as we continue, as the onslaught continues, as America is still besieged, under siege, we are pressing forward. And there's a few different things that I want to speak about with this. However, the main topic we're going to talk about is the Second Amendment and what has been happening as far as your Second Amendment rights, at least in the United States. In a lot of places, including this country, there's no Second Amendment right, of course. But for you in the United States, you still have the Second Amendment, supposedly, and some other rights. But as we know, a lot of that is questionable at this moment. So, what has been going on? Well, we know that Beijing Joe has been broadcasting from his set, his fake Hollywood set. We know, well, at least we think, okay. But there's a lot of weird things, and we're going to be getting to that just don't add up. But Bozo Joe, Beijing Joe, there's so many names, just pick and choose, you can have one every day of the week if you like. But the point is that he's sitting there trying to remember what his name is and scribbling out nothing. In fact, we've actually seen some videos where people have shown that what he's actually signing is just some kind of blank page. It doesn't even have text or printing on it. So maybe they just tell him keep signing, and he knows nothing whether or not there's actually something there or not. But the Second Amendment, well, the Second Amendment is the right to keep and bear arms, right? So what does that mean? Well, a lot of people have tried to redefine the meaning. A lot of people have said, well, that just meant muskets. That just meant something to keep you safe from a marauding bear at your encampment or at your cabin or whatever you might have back in the day. But that's not what it meant. How do I know that? Well, the same way that you can find out too, you can go back and look at the letters and articles of Thomas Jefferson. You can look at the writings regarding the Constitution, regarding the Second Amendment. And what you will find is the communication and the writings and the firm belief in the people's right to keep and bear arms for one reason. And the reason is to prevent the government from overreaching and taking over and getting rid of the people's rights. That was the purpose, and that is the purpose. Now, of course, the deep state, the globalists, the communists, the socialists, the whateverists, they know that, okay? Just like Hitler knew that. The Nazis knew that. All these people know it, okay? But they're trying to make you to be the ones who don't know. They want you to be the stupid ones. They want you to be the ones that, well, I don't know, I guess, yeah, it's what they said on the TV, so, yeah, I get, that's what it is, all right, yeah. Well, that's not really good, and that's not what it's all about. That's what they want you to think and believe, but that's not it. So, why is it important? People have said, well, what can a Beretta 9 do against a tank, against aircraft? Well, the thing is that you cannot successfully win a war unless you're going to have global thermonuclear war and just completely annihilate everything, which doesn't really help as far as what you're trying to do, as far as your possible gains from the war. You don't really gain anything in a worldwide thermonuclear war, except for perhaps the deep state, who can go to their underground 100-year bunkers and hold out. But that's about it. So what happens is you have ground battle. It comes down to the ground. Yes, there's air support, there's air superiority in a theater, but it comes down to the ground. It comes down to ground troops with weapons in their hands, fighting and flushing out. And that's where it always comes down to. It always has, and as far as I know, it still is and will. So that's the importance of it. Because if you have people that are completely unarmed, you can go in and do whatever you want. And a lot of the time, like I'm saying, unless somebody's insane and wants complete global thermonuclear war, you're looking to gain something in a war. You're looking to gain territory. You're looking to gain whatever, oil, beachfront property, the resources, mines, diamonds, coal, iron, gold, silver, something. You're looking to gain something. And if you just blow it all up and carpet bomb everything, you don't have those resources. Also, you don't have the slave labor of the people that you're just taking over. So these are things that are well known, from the Roman times to the Nazi times to now. And Hitler was one who knew about history and learned about these intricacies. He's not the only one, of course. Stalin, others. There's a whole grouping of people who learn from history. Those who don't are doomed to repeat their mistakes, as it looks like the United States is doing right now. So, back to the Second Amendment. Well, we have a plethora of bills that have been introduced, and we have H.R. 130, H.R. 135, H.R. 121, H.R. 125, and what I consider to be the most deadly, H.R. 127. So, what are these all about? Well, there's some that are neither here nor there, okay? 127 is the bad one, so quickly. Let's put the simple ones out of the way. 130, H.R. 130, require the safe storage of firearms and ammunition to require the investigation of reports of improper storage of firearms or ammunition. So you're going to have your little snitches that are going to report you, call up, oh yeah, hey, Joe next door, yeah, he's, he improperly stored it, and then you get the knock on the door, the thugs come in, the Nazis come in, essentially, take a look, whatever they're going to do, confiscate, who knows what the ramifications of this bill really could be. But the thing is that people who come in your house can make up crimes for other reasons. Oh, what's this? Oh, you got a little disc here, DVD. That looks like a copy of a movie. Oh, well, I guess we're going to have to take you in for that. Possibly. Who knows? What's this over here? Oh, we see there's a little hole in the wall. Is this domestic violence? We're going to have to take you in. There's all sorts of things they can come up with and do. They will find a crime and fit it to you. So that's 130. 135 will require firearm transfers to be completed within 3 business days. Okay, whatever. I'm not too concerned with that. H.R. 121 hires an additional 200 ATF agents, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosive Agents, investigators to enforce the laws. You got more Gestapo that are going to be employed to do this kind of stuff. Then we have 125. There's a 7-day waiting period, that's what they want, before a semi-automatic firearm, a silencer, armor-piercing ammunition, or large-capacity ammunition magazine may be transferred. And of course, when they say large capacity, you can define that. What is large, what is small? These are relative terms, okay? Is 1 considered large? Well, they might make it that way. Right now they're saying greater than 10, but who knows? So the big one, the bad one, H.R. 127, to provide for the licensing of firearm and ammunition possession and the registration of firearms, and to prohibit the possession of certain ammunition. So it's a lot of words. Okay, so what does all that mean? What is the relevance of all this? Well, simply put, you have H.R. 127, which is going to do several things if passed. For For one thing, if you, the perfectly law-abiding person in the United States with your firearm, whatever it is, choose to not do anything, if this law were to pass, you would be a criminal and guilty of a felony. Up to, here's the silver lining, okay, up to only $150,000 and 25 years. So, if you're 25 years old, let's say, and you're found guilty because you didn't register your weapon or whatever, you get out of prison when you're 50, right? And you're only $150,000 in the hole. So, yeah, could be worse, right? Right? So, they're being nice, right? So, the issue is that they're wanting, once this passes, and, Beijing Joe's got his pen right there, and he's ready to sign away on this one after it goes through the House and Senate. Right now it's going to a subcommittee, and they're going to be looking at it. But if this awful thing were to pass, then what would happen is that you would have to register voluntarily, of course. It's voluntary. Yeah, we're not making anybody do it. Yeah, it's just voluntary. Of course, if you don't, you're a criminal. We'll arrest you and put you in prison. But what they're going to do is they're going to make you register everything you own. And to the best of your knowledge, where you got it from. Did you get it from Joe's sporting goods store? Did you get it from your neighbor Joe? Where? Where did this stuff come from? You're going to register hunting rifles, target rifles, handguns, any other type of semi-automatic, shotguns, whatever it is, bolt actions. They want it registered. So then there's a database. Now, another feature of this database is that it will be publicly browsable. So then you can start looking around and saying, oh, you know what? Sam down the street, yeah, he's got a lot of weapons and stuff. We didn't know that. Well, let's call up the gang and go down there and break in and let's steal everything. In certain areas, that could happen. So you no longer have privacy in these matters. That's nice. And of course, you're registered, so the government knows exactly what you have and where it's at. But they're also limiting what it is that you will actually be able to have. And part of that is the 50 caliber. So the 50 caliber or above in terms of a round will be controlled and possibly made illegal. Now, I don't know if this extends to the 50 AE, Action Express, the Desert Eagle uses. I think they're talking about the BMG, the 50 BMG, the machine gun, basically, round. I think, but who knows? This is all up for grabs. So you say, okay, we're going to register, right? We're going to do the registration. That's not so bad. Okay, I can live with that, right? Well, what about the insurance policy you got to get? What? Insure what? Yes, it's an $800 a year insurance policy for having the weapons, I guess, in case there's some kind of an accident, or I don't even know what it's for. But they're imposing that on every single firearm owner who registers. So now you have to cough up almost $1,000 a year to keep your weapons. Well, you say, okay, I can deal with that. It's worth it. Blah, 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 whatever. I'll cancel certain subscriptions, whatever the case is, and make it up. Okay, fine. But there's the other hurdle. The other hurdle is the psychological exam. And I've heard people who actually have CCWs within the states have said, well, I've had to do something similar to that anyway, so it's no big deal. This one's a little different. And the criteria for this one has not completely been established. So we don't know how high the bar is going to be. The bar could be so high that most people can't reach it and pass it. And therefore, well, you're obviously not capable of owning firearms, so therefore you're going to have to turn them in, otherwise you're going to go to prison. So that's one thing. The other is that for people who have been divorced, part of the law wants to go back, not only just the family members in their household or whom they know, but they want to go back to their previous relationships, previous wives or husbands. Well, for some people, that might be a situation that's not so bad. But for others, there's a lot of bad blood, usually resulting from divorce, separation, whatever. And these people might not be on your side when they're interviewed, and they say, oh, well, okay, let's take a look here. So your ex-husband Joe, that guy, he's very violent. Oh, yeah. Has he ever talked about, oh, yes, he has, and stuff. Has he ever taken away, oh, yes, he's threatened me all the time, and stuff. So there's all kinds of possibilities to where a person will never, ever be able to get this license in the first place. Even if you cough up the money, even if you go through all the rigors, even if you do the exam and such, you might still fail for various reasons. This is what we're up against with HR 127. So what they're doing basically is clever. It's always clever, and that's the thing. And you put it under the guise of, oh, we're just trying to make it safer. We're just trying to help everybody. So what you do is you come out and you say, well, we're not taking away your Second Amendment rights. No, not at all. No, not us. No, you can trust us. No, we're the government. We're your corrupt politicians, congressmen, senators, whatever the case is. But they're whittling away at it, just as they've done before. This does not have a sunset provision in it. There was the assault weapons ban of years ago at the federal level that had a sunset provision that actually did go away after some point. That's not the case with anything I've read in the text for this one, and you can look it up and read it for yourself. Now, of course, these things do change when they go through subcommittees and such, so the final version isn't out. But this is really, really bad news. This is not something that's trivial. And this in itself, if it were to pass as is, then you would essentially cause a lot of people to have to give up their arms. Let's say you don't have the $800 a year for this insurance policy. You would have to give up the weapons. Otherwise, you will be a criminal. It's as simple as that. And for some people, maybe 25 years and 150 grand is no big deal. I have no idea. I think it is a big deal, but that sounds pretty serious to me. So let's look at the other side of this. Let's see how this will help and make things safe. Okay. Well, by virtue of the definition of a criminal, a person who's breaking the law, the criminal is not going to care about this. The criminal is going to say, oh, yeah, there's a new, really, HR 127, oh, yeah, I'll get on that right away. I'll just register all my weapons that I stole along with, the oodles here of drugs and everything else and cash and who knows what. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to step forward, and I'm sure you're going to put this to rest. Now, of course, the criminals in the first place, who might be desperate, who might be running their operations, they're not going to be registering. So you haven't touched them at all. Now, we, the enlightened ones, we understand this. But to the average person, they're going to try to sell it to you. They're going to sell it on the news, and, there again, the talking head on the MSN is going to sit there and, another news tonight, we're going to make America safe thanks to Beijing Joe. A measure brought forward that he signed off on is going to ensure gun safety for everybody. So it's always safety. It's always think of the children. It's always stuff like that. This is where they go with it. And the sad thing is that it's the common person who has to the common person has to take all of this and end up shouldering everything. Because it's always the working person, working man, working woman, who shoulders everything, if you look at things. Okay? Getting up every day and going to work, those are the people, fields, manufacturing, service, whatever it is. That's what keeps the world working and running, okay? The suits up on top, the bean counters, the managers, the corrupt politicians, all the corrupt individuals and such that manage thing at a high level, they have it pretty easy. They're not touched by this, okay? So it's the average person that is, and that's a sad thing, and that's always the case. It's always the case. It's the pawns. So speaking of strategy, speaking of Beijing Joe, let's delve into that. So what is going on at the White House, okay? That's what I would like to know. Now, as far as I can tell, and as far as I've seen from pictures and video, which there's not much available at the moment, strangely enough, there are some really bizarre things going on there. We do not have grounds where you can just stroll and take pictures anymore. Now, of course, we were told, and this was something that was actually predicted ahead of time, but we were told that the grounds and everything had to be protected because of all the Trump supporters, all the Trump people, all the ones that besieged the Capitol. Those are the bad guys, and we got to protect ourselves against them because they're coming back. They're coming back. These are the gun-toting nuts, and they're going to be coming back, and they're going to get everybody. And look at what they've done. Look at what they've done to your country, to your government. They don't say republic. They don't like to say stuff like that. Okay, they'll use other words. But anyway, as we know, that we had people who led, and I've already covered this, led this small group at the Capitol. Everybody else was just kind of walking around looking at things. Nevertheless, it was used. It was used as a tool. It's used as a ploy against you, and this is what they're doing. But there's something odd, because at the White House and surrounding it, of course, it's totally closed off. There's some sort of a structure in front. I've seen some imagery. I cannot tell what it is. It looks like it's multi-story. It looks like it's a temporary, some kind of building of some kind that they put not too far off of the lawns from it. And it's hard to say what it is. There's speculation, and I've heard a couple of things that I'm not going to pass along because I just don't know at this moment, and I haven't verified that. But it's odd. And we have video. Mustang Medic had this recording, and it's about an, 30, 45-minute video of what he recorded early in the morning of 25th January between 3 and 6 a.m. There was a blackout in Washington around the White House, and two different videotape sources of the scene are showing it. There's military vans, buses, and cars, and you can look this up. There's videos all over the place of it. I'll try to post a link to it. And you will see what looks to be very odd, just buses and buses. Why? The question is why? That's not normal, okay? And then there's another video of a person looking and watching some of the live stream such from the White House at the 2 days, I guess this was a couple days after the inauguration date, whatever that means. And there's fireworks in the middle of the night around the White House. And when you try to dig this up, it's very hard to find this video. But it's not at the inauguration. Let's be clear. It is not then. This is a couple days after. And there again, there's something odd about this. Now, am I saying this is the plan? Am I saying we are seeing the plan, unfold here in the backgrounds and these are little hints? Who knows, okay? Who really knows? I've heard various information. There's an online person by the name of Simon who has contacts as well, and he presents some information as well. I think that it's best to say, at best, this is odd, and you can look at the videos and make your own conclusion, because the freedom of choice to think and make your own conclusion is true freedom, and that's what you have. Don't take it from anybody to tell you exactly what's going on. You take it all in and you decide and you discern and you discriminate. This is how the mind works. And the more you know, the more educated you are, and the more you go on looking at things through wisdom, you'll come to the conclusion. Also, prayer helps too, to clarify things. So, we've seen indications that this plan that we've heard about is still working in the background. Could this be complete nonsense? Absolutely. And I just want to make that clear. I'm not selling it as this is it. I just think it's really odd, and I want to pass it along, and you should be looking at this. But what we have in front of us, as I said before, what we have in the here and now is a tyrannical set of dictators, and we have a situation in the United States that is apparently up front unbelievably bad. There's no other way to put it. not going to sugarcoat it here. So, as I've said before, what can one do? We can oppose this kind of thing, and you can do it in different ways. People have suggested infiltration. I think that's exactly something that should be done on multiple levels, because you can also find information, you can make changes from within. Also, you can appeal to person's common sense. If they come across and, oh yeah, hey, who did you vote for election? Well, I'm not a political person, I don't vote or whatever it is. You can engage them in conversation. Say, does this really look right? What about the insulin thing that Biden ripped out from the people for their benefits and such? Is this good? Is this really good? You can get people thinking. You can engage them. If you run up to them and you whip out your Trump flag and shove it in their face, it's not going to work. That's their strategy. Their strategy is to hit you and yell at you and attack and attack and attack. You can be smarter than that, and you can be above that. And the more educated you are, the more that you understand things, you can present other possibilities to them. There's some people that are brain dead you can never reach, but there are people that you can reach that are still possible of being saved and to understand. So, where are we with everything? Well, like I said, the Second Amendment stuff, you need to look up these bills. They're bad news. H.R. 127 is the worst. Read the text for yourself. Come to your own conclusion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a fantastic thing. Maybe registration and prison time for not following the law is something that's fabulous, and I just have absolutely no idea. And I'm just way out there, right? Maybe. But you can draw your own conclusions, okay? I'm just presenting the information out here for you. So that is one thing that's bad enough. All these different types of executive orders we've supposedly been seeing signed, personally I do think it's a stage. I don't think this is actually real, okay? I'm just going to give you my opinion. I don't know exactly what's going on, but something is definitely not right. And for things that aren't real and for things that aren't going on, we have another video that showed up, and this is a supposed arrest. And I say supposed because we have no idea. This is an arrest of a congressman, and if you look at him, he's the same one that was at this inauguration, whatever you want to call it. And in the video, he's apparently walking out with his wife. I did look at the videos and I did correlate it, and I'm pretty certain that the woman next to him is his wife, at least 95% certain. Whether that's a double and that's some kind of an agent, I don't really know. People have said a lot of things. Nevertheless, he is walking out with his arms not at his side, but firmly behind his back. It's very unnatural. It doesn't look right. Frankly, it does look like somebody walking out with cuffs on. And I can't, for any reason, figure out why he would be walking like that. And if you look at all the other people that came out on this video, it was a live video from, I don't know, NBC or somebody. Nobody else is doing that. And people don't walk out with their hands behind their back like that. And unless you see some sort of movie where it's always the evil guy who's his hands behind his back or something like that, or going like this, or something, But other than that, it looks extremely unnatural, to say the least. Is this an arrest of him? I'm not sure. But there again, look at it yourself. Draw your own conclusions, because that's the only way you're going to really be free and understand. So keep learning, keep educating yourself, keep your prayer, keep your hope, and we can turn this thing around one way or another. And that'll be in future episodes. The Mr. Chris Show, voice of the underground.